Hello and welcome to another Verbling class. Tonight we're going to talk about interview questions. We'll get started shortly. Okay, there are a lot of questions you can be asked in an interview. We're going to talk tonight about some of the most common questions that you'll get asked. What is your greatest strength? And parallel to this is, what is your greatest weakness? Like all questions, you should adequately prepare ahead of time. How will you answer these questions? So what is your greatest strength? Don't make it seem too fake or too simple. Same with what is your greatest weakness? Well, I work too hard. No, they're not going to see through that. It's too fake. Everybody has a weakness. They want to know what yours is. And have you learned anything from it? How do you deal with the weakness? You've already sent them your interview. They know you from what you presented, so they already have an idea of what some of your greatest strengths are. They want to hear if you can articulate those strengths. Some of them might ask you to tell them something. Tell them about a previous job. More specifically, they might ask you to describe a problem or an issue you had in a previous job and what you did to overcome it. They might ask if you're a team player. Do you work well with others? Hello, Jose. Another one they might ask is, what has been your biggest failure or your biggest success? Again, what was your failure? Why did the project fail? And what did you learn from it? In business, it's very important to be able to identify lessons learned.
Sorry, but I can hear you.
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Yes or no?
Well, I'm talking to you, so obviously I hear you. Where are you from, Jose? Okay, maybe you can't hear me. So I'm going to continue on with my lesson then. So it's very important to be able to differentiate yourself from the competition. So for example, you might be one of 20 people applying for the job. How are you going to stand out? Okay. Now, another really good question is, they might ask you something like this. How have you shown yourself to be a leader? Okay, what skills have you been able to demonstrate? Now, some questions might be designed to trip you up, such as this one. How meticulous are you with details? Well, if you go ahead and say, well, I'm very meticulous with details, well, maybe they're not looking for somebody like that. Maybe they're concerned with people that are always looking for the details. Whereas if you answer, well, the devil is always in the details, however, no, let's see the best way to handle that. You want to indicate that you're aware of the details and the importance of the details, but it's important to stay focused on your goals, on your calendar, to not get off scope, and that you have experts to help you reach those goals and delve into the details. But focusing on the details by themselves can be dangerous because you can get off schedule, which can always cost money. A couple of other things I might ask you about is soft skills. So what are soft skills? Soft skills are those skills needed when dealing with people, when dealing with people's emotions. Jose, you're back.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. And you?
Okay, good. There we go.
Okay.
Jose, where are you from, buddy?
I am from Chile.
Chile. So it's wintertime there.
Yeah. Today it was rainy
hmm
in Chile.
Well, it's raining very hard here today in Canada.
Ah, really?
Look, do I seem like the type of guy who's going to lie to you? Let me show you. Look at that.
Okay.
You can see the actual clouds moving across right now. We've got a storm cell moving right here, and I'm right at the beginning of it.
Okay. Where are you staying at the moment?
I'm in Canada,
What city?
Toronto.
Ah, in Toronto. Okay.
Yeah, everybody knows Toronto.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, my power just went out. So having a bit of a storm right now.
No, no, not in a storm, but the day was rainy
No,
today.
no, I'm sorry, you're missing the point. I'm having a storm right now. My power just went out. So
Uh,
if I
yeah.
disappear, it's because our power's gone.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So it's not me being rude that I've got better things to do. Just know that if I do disappear, wait a few minutes, I should come back, but that's the first time the power went off.
Okay.
Okay. So Jose, you're from Chile. Are you near a coast or in the mountains?
Yeah. I live in Santiago.
Oh, very nice. And what brings you to tonight's class?
Sorry?
Why are you here tonight?
Sorry, but I don't understand. I can hear clearly.
Um, why are you here tonight?
Ah, uh, mm, sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, well, just give me a minute. Hi, Claudio. I noticed you just joined class a little while ago. I don't mean to be rude. How are you, sir?
Hey, hey Simon, it's okay. How's it going?
Good. Where are you from, Claudio?
I'm from Santiago too.
Oh, do you guys know each other?
No,
It's just that you
it's
joined class at the same time.
I
yeah,
don't think so.
Chilean invasion.
Maybe, you know.
I understand. Well, tonight we're talking about interview questions. Do either of you have a job or are you looking for a job?
Well, today I had a job interview actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to practice interview questions, okay? So,
Okay.
Claudio, you're obviously applying for a job. You can use your subject area knowledge of your current field of work and help prepare for that. Jose, it's up to you. I don't know what kind of work you do, but maybe you can focus on that and we can practice applying for a new job, okay? So all these questions are questions that are asked on an interview. So first of all, Claudio, let's do a little bit of practice, okay?
Okay.
So hi, Claudio. Thank you for joining us here today at Apple Company. Did you find Did you find us easily?
I indeed I did. sir. Yes,
Good.
because you're a big enterprise and you're all over the internet, so it wasn't that hard to find you.
Good, good. So do you like technology?
uh, for all intents and purposes of this interview, I do like.
Be careful with an answer like that. Okay, now I see you're applying for one of our jobs here. Can you please tell me what one of your greatest strengths is?
What is
What's
your
your greatest
greatest?
strength?
I am good at teamwork. Um, I usually manage teams. I know how to lead. I know how to follow when the occasion arises.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so good. Now, this is very good here. You talked about that you're good at leading teams. Now, one thing you did is you more generalized, okay? And if you want to stand out from other candidates, you want to do a bit more than just generalize. You want to be specific. So if you're good at leading teams, maybe you can give an example of a team that you led, why it was good, why you were good at it, what you did, and what the result was.
Uh-huh. But I have to wait for the question to pop or just
Well, I
start it.
just gave you the question, right?
Uh-huh.
So I said, what is your greatest strength?
Yeah, but the specific question, uh, like giving an example.
Well, let me put it to you this way. In business, if you want to exceed, companies aren't looking for people that can answer specific questions. They're
Uh-huh.
looking for people that can think on their feet.
Hmm.
So they're asking you questions. They want to know a little bit about you, why you did it, what you did, and what the result was. That's true for
Ah.
anything in business, right? The result can mean you increased revenue, you saved, you reduced costs, so you provided savings. They want to know what you did, but they want to know why you did it. Okay? So you shouldn't necessarily wait for them to ask you the question. You should volunteer this information because I don't care just about what your greatest strengths is. I want some details. Okay?
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So let's try that again. Could you tell me one of your greatest strengths, please?
Mm, okay. Well, one of my greatest strengths is teamwork. I, as an example, I can say that I've been working with an ONG for the last couple of years, and we have been uh, developing different projects in human resources and humanitarian activities.
Excellent. Okay, good, better.
Uh-huh.
All right, now let me talk to Jose. Jose,
Hello, can I can hear.
Jose, thank you for joining us today. Um, could you please tell me your greatest weakness?
Okay, I think that all of people have a weakness. I think that could be. I, I, I wanted to talk about my greatest skills because I think that could be with these skills could be at the same time my great weakness. Okay. Um, I think that uh, I am I think that I am very creative. sometimes with working with other people, and sometimes for the same reason, I need I have a little difficult to focus in a single task. For example, I need to do multiple tasks, but if I have just only one task, it's a little bit difficult to focus in one task. I think that could be my main weakness.
Okay, good. Now, at first, it sounded like you were not answering my question. You went on to one of your skills. But you did answer the question. You said it was difficulty focusing.
Yeah,
What I recommend is come right out and say, well, my greatest difficulty is, I would have to say, focusing. But what you need to think about here is when you tell them your greatest weakness, what you need to do is not just say, yeah, I'm lazy, or whatever it is, right? What you need to say is, well, my greatest weakness is difficulty focusing. I find that when I have a lot of projects, a lot of pressure, I seem to excel more than when I have a single task. So what I've learned to do in these situations is, and then tell them what you've learned to do to work on that weakness. Because here's the key. Whenever they ask for your weakness, they want you to be truthful, but you need to let them know what you've done to work on that weakness. Right?
Okay.
So good, well done. So your greatest strength and your greatest weakness, okay? Now there's something I want to tell you a little bit about. It's called generalization. So when you're in an interview, what happens is weaker candidates have a tendency to generalize their experience, okay? When they're generalizing, they're not able to talk about anything specifically that they've learned in a given situation. Stronger candidates, which is what I was showing you with Claudio, tend to be more specific. Now, it doesn't mean you talk for 10 or 20 minutes, okay? So if somebody says, well, what is my greatest strength? I would start off by saying, well, I'm a great project manager. I'm able to manage multiple projects, keep them all on schedule, all within scope. I use various tools to do this. Last year I completed Project X on time and on budget. This project was worth $10 million and had 25 people working on it full time. The result of this project was a 10% increase in revenue. Okay, my greatest strength, a specific example, and the result, right? But that was quick. Maybe a little too quick. But remember, you want to avoid being too general. Provide some detail. And that brings up another good point. Don't forget, you guys need to practice. Okay? All right, let's look at a couple of more questions.
Sorry, question. How can we practice? Yeah, just having interviews or by our own in front of the mirror, for instance?
Exactly. So I'll give you a bunch of questions at the end of the class, but you can find a lot of interview questions on the internet. One thing is to go through the ones that are most common that will get asked. First of all, know everything you put on your resume. You shouldn't have any questions about anything on there. Your resume should be filled with action words. Okay? So we're talking about the past participle. Worked, programmed, led, managed, right? These are great action words. So there's many ways you can do it. If you have a wife, a girlfriend, a brother, a friend that's willing to help you, they can ask you questions, and unlike you practicing, they can ask you questions in any order and try to trick you. Okay? Do this a couple of times, because what will happen is you'll become more familiar with your topic, And when they ask you questions, you won't be, let me think, yeah, my weakness, right? You'll be
Mhm.
prepared, and that's always important.
But what concerns me is that if you look too prepared, they may think that you may be I don't know, maybe practicing your answers
Well, no,
or
they expect that you'll,
pre-made answers.
well, they'll
You're
expect that
just
you're prepared. I mean, if you're not prepared, I'm not interested in you. However, what I think you're talking about is you memorized the answers,
Mhm.
right? You don't want to seem like you've memorized everything and then you're reading off a script.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever called a company for help and the person on the other line, you can tell they're just reading from a piece of paper?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not what you want. You want to rehearse so no matter what they ask you, all the information is right here. Okay?
Mhm.
So, yeah, if they give you a question, you can sort of smile and go, yeah, okay, well, and then go into details,
Mhm.
right? But
But
yeah,
maybe if you give an answer that it sounds maybe a little bit contrived, maybe too obvious,
well,
maybe
that's why
something
you
that you
practice.
found on internet. I think that they won't like that,
Well, that's why you
even if
practice,
it's.
right? If you
Mhm.
practice, you're going to avoid that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Practice, use your own words, use your own experiences. Again, there's three things when you're giving an answer. You want to tell them what you did, why you did it, and what was the result. Be specific.
Uh-huh.
So what I would do for the rest of the class is when you answer, be honest with me. Tell me about your own experience. Just change the names of the people involved or the companies, right? Because you want to protect your privacy. But I want you to I want you to answer honestly, okay? So let's try again. Let me give you a different question. Claudio, tell me about a problem you had with a supervisor.
Supervisor. Well, I've never worked before, so
Oh,
I
you never
have
had a job?
no. Actually, today was
Oh,
my first job interview.
okay, bad example. All right, so I can't. Well, let's see what happens when I ask Jose. Jose, tell me about a problem you had with the supervisor.
Mm, maybe a time ago when I must to work on Saturday. A Saturday, I I couldn't to work in Saturday because I had other meetings. It was a problem with my supervisor.
Okay. So you basically, when your supervisor asked you to do something, you refused.
Yeah, because I had other deals.
Okay. So you report to your supervisor, right?
Sorry,
This you reported to your supervisor?
you reported?
Well, he's your supervisor, right?
Sorry, but I don't understand.
Okay. You report to your supervisor, right?
Yeah,
Okay. And he asked you to do something and you said no. I don't understand why you'd say no. He's the one who gives you work.
yeah, but then we talk about the problem and together solve the problem.
Okay. So let's look at that situation. You told me about a problem you had with a supervisor and that it was he asked you to work and you said you couldn't because you had other meetings. And
Hmm.
then that's all you said. So I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. You refused to do work that your supervisor asked you to do. You report to this person and yet you refuse to do work? I don't know if I want this guy working for me.
Sorry?
Okay? You generalized. You didn't give me any details. You told me what you did. You didn't tell me why you did it or the result.
Okay. In that situation, we need to other deal. I work at a university training
Mm-hmm.
people. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and in this date, I had to give training in other place. It was impossible to give a training in both places at the same time.
Okay,
Okay,
better.
okay.
Now,
For
let me
me,
stop you for a second. Sorry, Jose. Good. Now, Claudio.
Yes.
Jose just told us more details of why he said no.
okay,
Doesn't that
okay.
sound better?
Yeah, yeah, I understand. Okay.
No, no, Jose. So the thing is when you only tell us, oh, I said no to my supervisor because I had other meetings.
Hmm.
Really? Okay, I don't
Yeah.
want this guy working for me. But
So
now,
sounds
if you,
a little bit rude.
it does. And that's why I'm saying prepare. So let me answer the same question with your scenario, and I'll tell you what, why, and result.
Yeah, yeah. I think that
Uh,
could be a little
hold
bit
on.
difficult
Let me
to get more
finish.
vocabulary.
Hold on. Let me finish. Okay. So
Okay.
here we go with your situation. Well, I had a problem with a supervisor 2 years ago. He had asked me to work on, provide training to this group, and unfortunately I couldn't. And he told me I had to do it, and I said, look, unfortunately I can't do the training on this date. I've already agreed to training in Sao Paulo. We've already accepted the money for this. We've already got 30 students that have prepaid. If I was to pull out at this point, we'd lose the revenue. And once I sat down with him and explained the situation, he realized that I wasn't just disobeying him, that there was a good reason for it. And the end result was he told me to keep that training, but as soon as I could, he wanted me to schedule the other training. Okay, so what did I do? Why did I do it? And what was the result? It's very important. Even on your resume, guys, when you list a bit of experience, tell them what you did. I train employees, okay? Or I trained employees, action word. Okay, why do you train employees? Right? And what is the result?
Hmm.
Okay? Because companies want to know what you did, why you do it, or did it, and what the result is.
Yeah, because we usually just put that we worked at some specific place, but we don't say what we actually did in that place.
Yeah. Let me tell you a secret. Companies don't care what you did. In fact, if you're applying for a job along with a lot of other people, do you know what HR is doing? HR is the part of the company that receives your resume, looks at it, and books an interview with you.
Hmm.
When they receive a lot of resumes or CVs, they're not looking for the best candidate, they're looking for the worst. Does that
Why?
make sense?
No.
You just asked me why. Okay, excellent question. Because I gave you the what, didn't I? All right, I want you to see if you can answer the question for me. Imagine you're working for a company. You have a job posting. You have 200 resumes. and you have to book interviews for next week. You've got 3 days to go through them. What are you going to do, Claudio, to get through those resumes really quickly?
Well, I I will attend. Which one of the resumes it's clearer? Uh,
Really?
yeah.
I wouldn't. You know what I would do?
What?
Because looking for the best one takes time, whereas looking for the ones that, because remember, you might accept 12. So what I would do is I'd go looking through the worst ones and throwing them out. Okay? Ones that have spelling mistakes, throw them out. Ones with grammar mistakes, throw them out. Ones that aren't well written, so they talk about what, but they don't go into details, or they don't have a lot of work experience, throw those out. What HR is trying to do is look for all the ones that don't look good, and then they focus on the remaining ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what you want to do is write it so that way your resume shows out as a good one. It doesn't have to be the best.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense.
What is the purpose of a resume? It has one single purpose.
To be noticed.
Okay, wasn't the answer I was looking for, but good, close. Jose, what is the purpose, the single purpose of a resume?
I think to build a profile of the future worker.
Nope. From your point of view, not from the company's, from your point of view, why are you writing a resume?
Ah, okay. Write a resume about my main skills, I think so. My
Yeah,
experience.
why?
Mm,
See, I
to
just
get
asked you why you're writing a resume and you don't know the answer. Why would you go through all that trouble if you don't know why you're doing it?
to get interested to the other people in my job, in my work.
No, you don't care if they're interested. Remember, you have one objective here. Only one. Do you care if they're interested? I don't.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, what?
To get into the interview.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one purpose. It's not to get you the job. It won't. It's to get you into the interview. The interview is to get you the job offer.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Remember that. It's simple, but it's true. The only purpose of the CV or the resume is to get you an interview. Okay? So you got to write it in a way. And here's the thing. You've got time to write it. There's no pressure from people. You don't have an hour. Take the time. List your experience clearly. What you did, why you did it, and the result. No spelling mistakes. There's no excuses for them. If this job is that important to you and you've got spelling mistakes, I don't think it's that important for you. Grammar. Have somebody proof it. Make sure it's perfect. Okay? So the reason why I talked about that is when we're in an interview and you're being asked questions, you've got your resume with you. You've given them a copy. You could reference your resume. So they might ask you about your best experience or a problem with a supervisor. Well, if you know what's on your resume, you can say, well, if you look at company XYZ, in 1996 I led a group of people, and then you can go into detail. Or you can say, as you read in my CV, in 1996 I did this because, and the result was. Okay? Be prepared. You know they've got your resume, and if they don't have it in front of them, offer them a new copy. Because you're selling yourself, right?
Right.
Okay? There's nothing wrong with being, I did this, because they're interested in you. they're willing to pay you a lot of money to do a job.
Mhm.
Okay, let me give you some other questions. Let's see, no, those, I don't like those. Since you haven't worked, it's tougher for you. All right, here's a good question.
There's a question for that. How can I sell myself if I haven't worked before?
Work.
Mhm.
May I ask your age, Claudio?
24.
Okay, so at 24, if you don't have work, I'll be brutally honest, you haven't tried hard enough, because there's many ways you can build up an experience, especially if you're in college, and you probably are graduating college, right?
Right.
Right. So didn't you do any work when you were in school? Did you work for the university?
Mm, for my university?
Yeah, did you work in university?
No.
Okay. You can volunteer for organizations, right?
Hmm.
You can volunteer for charities. You can get experience.
Yeah, I got that. I,
Yeah.
I've been working as a volunteer, but
Okay, but that's work.
uh-huh.
Don't say you haven't worked. That's work.
Okay.
Dude, seriously, that is honestly good work. If you've learned, if you've gained experience and skills from working, even if it was for free, that's still good.
Hmm.
Because to me now, instead of this guy who's fresh out of school who hasn't worked and has no experience, gotta train this guy. Now you're telling me you've done work and it was a charity? Yeah, I want to know. What did you do? Tell me more.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be paid to be real work. Maybe you helped your father with his own company. That's work as well. Okay? So Claudio,
Okay.
after class, think about all the work that you've done that hasn't involved working for a paid company.
Uh-huh.
Okay? It's very good. Okay, so next question. Jose,
Okay.
who do you admire the most?
I absolutely my parents. Why?
It's just a
uh,
question.
yeah, my parents. I think so because for me, they are a good example to get results with a hard work.
Okay, good. Um, Not a question that's asked all the time, but yeah, they want to know a bit more about you. Really, questions like this are designed to find out the type of person you are. They're spending a lot of money to hire someone, and they're going to spend a lot of money to pay that person. They want to make sure they're picking the right person. Um, Here's another question. And Jose, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Claudio. Jose, tell me about yourself, and tell me why we should hire you.
Uh, Claudio or me?
Sorry, Jose, you.
Okay, okay. Uh, because I think that I have the profile to get the job because I like computers. I use I used Apple all my life. For example, it's a dream to get this job. I think so.
Okay. So could you told me a bit about yourself and why we should hire you, but um, let me ask Claudio. Claudio, do you think there was enough detail there?
Mm, well, he could maybe tell something that makes him stand out from
Yeah.
the other people, from the
I
rest.
know you're very good. I know you're a little nervous starting off in the interview and you may be a little unprepared, but that's why we practice. You need to stand out. Like if okay, you played with computers a long time, that's great, but it doesn't tell me why I should hire you. Okay, so yeah, make yourself stand out. Really think of what your experience is. You know what? While you're talking, they're not going to stop you. Tell them as much as you want to. Generally, interviews are 1 to 2 hours. You're in control. When they ask you the question, take the time to give them the answers. I was in an interview once where it was going over the time they had booked for me. But that was their problem. They asked me a question, and I was going to give them a proper answer. Claudio, tell me about yourself, and tell me why we should hire you.
Okay. Um, you should hire me because I'm good in what I do. I've been working as a volunteer and humanitarian ONG, so it's been related to with the job that I am applying now. I have a great memory. I've been working with uh, teams and jobs that need good memory, excellent memory. I mean, and I had the proper responses in those all those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So remember, tell me a bit about yourself. So if I was asked the question, tell me a bit about yourself and why we should hire you. Well, I got my start in technology many years ago, going back to probably the early 1980s. I self-taught myself basic and machine language. I then moved on to desktop video and desktop production, again working with computer systems and videotape systems. By 2000, I'd moved away from desktop video into investment banking, and then I got my experience with networking computers over wide area networks as well as local area networks. My responsibility was to keep the trading floor of an investment bank up and running. We never had a failure. In fact, I led the company through Y2K and a switchover from the stamp trading system in 2000. I then moved over into online gaming and project management. I've been in project management for 10 years and I've led many large projects. My largest project was a blank project that lasted for 2 years at a cost of $10 million. I also led another project, XYZ, which was a 2-year project for a waste management system with a budget of $6 million. We completed the project on time and on budget. So I went into a bit more detail about what I've done. Why am I the right person for you? Well, not only do I have the experience, but I have the soft skills. I'm able to communicate with people laterally as well as people that are above me and below me. I listen and I get the job done. While I complete my projects on time, I have no problems with scope changes or changes in general, so long as they're managed and approved. Okay, so guys, notice how that was a bit more presented. I went into a bit more detail about my experience. Now it's tough because I don't give out a lot of my truthful information because there's certain stuff in there that I can't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end I said, well, not only do I have this experience, but these are some of my skills. This is why you should hire me.
Mm-hmm. It's tricky because we usually misunderstand what that question means. Tell me about yourself. It's so
Well,
open. So
it is,
open.
but okay, go ahead and ask me that question.
Tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm 6'1". I weigh about 180 pounds. I like to play tennis, hockey, and swim. I'm very active. I love Japanese food, Chinese food, Italian, and I'm a pretty good cook. I like to hang out with people that are active and that love to travel. And I like to stay current with current events. Did I tell you about myself?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that have anything to do with the job I'm applying for?
Maybe, maybe not.
No,
Probably.
it doesn't. Remember, they're asking you for they're asking you to come to the interview because they want to see if you're right for the job. Now, they might ask you some questions such as, what are your hobbies? Well, in that case, yeah, I like to swim, I like to be active, right? That's the appropriate response. But if they're saying, tell me about yourself, be honest with you, sometimes at the beginning of an interview, if they ask you your name, they might just ask, they're just trying to get you to loosen up a bit. Okay? But if we're into the interview some way and they say, tell me about yourself, why should we hire you? Do you really think they care about your personal life and your hobbies?
No.
No. The follow-up question is, why should we hire you? So if I gave that question about, well, I like to hang out with my friends, I like Italian food, and I think I'd be great working here, yeah. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to use your noodle. If it's the first 5 minutes, then they're probably asking you about yourself and trying to get you to loosen up. They're starting with small talk. Now, if they do say, tell me about yourself, well, it won't be as focused on me as about my work experience. So tell me about yourself. Well, I'm an active person. I enjoy challenging work, and I'm looking for companies that have blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm just focusing on the work aspect of it. But, usually at the beginning, it's all about getting you to relax, and that's the purpose of small talk.
Right.
Hi, Monica. All right, Monica's quiet. Well, guys, we got about 12 minutes left. I want to talk to you about something else. So we talked about how generalization is something to avoid, right? Be specific. What, why, and the result. Here's something else you need to be thinking about in the interview. Learning experiences. Weaker candidates have difficulty explaining what they've learned, especially when the interviewer probes deeper. Okay, example, with Jose, I said, oh, so your manager asked you to do something and you didn't do it? See, I started probing deeper. I needed to know more. Okay? Weaker candidates tend toward the extremes in their answer, either routine or exaggerated or expected answers. Okay? Stronger candidates, which is what you guys are more open about your weaknesses and your mistakes. And of course, related to your learning experiences, right? So if you learned something, well, you didn't learn how awesome you were. Okay? Well, I learned on this project that I was pretty amazing. No. We learned from our mistakes. What was your mistake? What was your weakness? How did this stick with you? How did you deal with this in future projects? Okay? And always focus on the long view.
Excuse
Hello,
me.
Monica.
Hello. I'm sorry for joining so late, but
Okay.
I saw the class and it was interesting, so I decided to join. And about
Thank you.
your question, can I answer?
Please do.
Okay. Maybe I should say that I. I don't know. Can I say that I am very organized? Maybe that's a tricky answer.
Well,
So I need methodic. Maybe no methodic because it says my weakness because I have to have everything well organized.
Okay, so if that's your weakness, then you want to talk in detail about, well, what have you learned? So you realize this is your weakness. So if you're a great candidate, you can tell me how you've learned to deal with this weakness. What do you do?
Okay.
Because if you're too methodical, you're wasting time, right?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, maybe that was the idea I have just got. To say that as I know I'm very methodic, maybe I had to I would put times to do the activities, to stop an activity when I have been doing it for a little time in order
Okay,
to go to the next step, and
good.
therefore achieve the objective, no, to finish the job, maybe.
Okay, I've been talking about this all class. What, why, result. So what is your weakness? Okay. What have you learned? Okay, so what have you learned? And then what have you done? Right? Why have you done this too, right? And then what is the result? So if you're very methodical, well, the downside is that you waste time on things. You're more of a perfectionist, and, well, perfection is costly. So maybe you're more organized. You schedule your events to make sure you don't miss things, right? And how has this helped you? Well, I've been more productive. My sales have gone up. Talk about the results, right? Yes, I know I'm a little too methodical sometimes. I found that the best way to overcome this is each day I spend about 5 minutes planning out my day. I put key meetings or key tasks into my calendar with reminders, and I found that my productivity has increased, and the result is sales have gone up by 15%.
Great.
Okay, so we all have weaknesses. It's not surprising. What they want to hear is what you've done. Your thinking. How do you look at things? What is it? Why is it? And what is the result? Okay, because in business, that's what we care about, is the end result. Okay, excellent. Something else. So we've looked at a lot of questions. Now, I've been talking about the why in a while, but this is actually a little discussion I want to have just on the why. So in an interview, weaker candidates focus on what happened. All right, and let me give you an example of a car accident. So yeah, guys, I was in a car accident yesterday. You're never going to believe what happened, but I was driving down the road, and this tree fell right in front of me. I missed the tree. I turned, but I ended up driving into a house. And I was hurt, and it was terrible. You know, the car is totaled. My insurance is going to go up, and the police have charged me, even though there was it wasn't my fault, but they're saying it's my fault, and it's just not very good. Okay, so did I tell you why it happened?
No.
No, I told you what happened, didn't I? We know the tree fell. We don't know why it fell. I almost told you. Right? Why did it happen? Because there was a major storm on. The wind blew the tree over. The pavement was wet. So when I hit the brakes, I slid. I hit some ice, and I lost control. That's why it happened. Okay. So weak candidates focus on what happened. The interview will usually have to end up asking them other questions to find out why. Okay? Weaker candidates have difficulty expressing whether any learning took place after the incident. So you got in a car crash. Well, what did you learn? Huh? What do you mean? I just had an accident. What do you mean, what did I learn? Well, evidently nothing. Okay? In an interview, stronger candidates consider the why more than the what. Because usually in business, any time we spend on something has dollars tied to it. Every hour you spend on something, you're getting paid. And for every hour, that's costing the company money. So if you're working on something, there's a result. And that result costs money to produce.
Okay.
So that's why businesses are really concerned about what it is you did and what you learned. Because if you didn't learn anything, you're very expensive and they don't want you working for them.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what did you learn that you could apply to the future? Or if something happened on a previous project, how did this help you in a later project?
Do you want an answer about this accident,
Go
or
ahead.
in general?
What's on your mind, Monica?
I was thinking that maybe next time I would go by bus. If it's very windy and there is a storm or something like that, or it's cold and maybe the road is ice, is with ice, maybe I should go by bus.
Or maybe if it's really stormy and it's dangerous outside, don't go out.
Yeah.
Right? Because maybe a bus can do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Or maybe drive slower.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Or put chains in the wheels.
That's okay. Chains is or snow tires, all sorts of things that can be done. The thing is, once you start thinking what, why, and result, you're going to start to see the world and work differently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, something else here, focus of interest. Weaker candidates tend to be more focused on the incidentals of the job, right? Things that don't matter as much. Chance of promotion, benefits, pay. Okay, these are important, but not in getting a job. If I'm looking for you as a potential candidate, and you're telling me, well, what benefits do you have? Do you have daycare? Do you have a training program? I'm thinking like, geez, all this person wants to do is get money and get a job. All right, next. Now, if Claudio comes in and says, well, you know what? Where I see myself in 5 years, I want to move from I want to move into project management and business analytics. I'd really love to see myself as a senior project manager within 10 years and have a chance to become a partner. This is one of the best companies in this town, and I'd be honored to be able to work for this company and to be able to have an opportunity to show why I'm the best candidate here. Mm-hmm. I didn't talk about pay or promotion. I did say that where I wanted to be, and that's different, right? I'm showing the company that I'm not just looking for a paycheck, but I want to be able to grow, and companies quite often want to see that you have the ability to grow, that you have drive. Okay, guys, well, we've got about a minute left, so I don't want you guys to be late for your next class. Tomorrow I have one more class, and this is a really fun class. It's on project management. No, it's not. It's got nothing to do with project management. The class I have tomorrow is on role-playing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So well, you see, I can't really tell you the time because you're on different time zones than me.
Yeah.
But what I can do is give you a link to my teacher page, and you can see the time there in your local time.
Okay.
In this class, we deal with real-life events. Employees, employers, police, managers, And employees, banks, and customers. You name it, we can practice it. All I ask you to do is to come to class with vocabulary you want to improve on, and I'll pick a scenario. Maybe you're the mother and your daughter's in college. Maybe you're the daughter and your mother has sent you to college, right? So many different scenarios.
Okay.
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 All right, guys. So thanks for coming tonight. I hope to see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Jaime.
Thank
Okay.
you.